my soul is lonely, whenever I'm feeling blue, I start thinking about my brown-eyed darling. My heart starts bending for you. Wanna hear that lonesome sound, 'cause my sweet baby ain't around. When my life gets me down, hear that lonesome sound. When I'm lost in this ocean of darkness, not knowing which way I should turn, and my eyes, they're filled with sadness of knowing you'll never return. Hey, knowing you'll never return. Wanna hear that lonesome sound, 'cause my sweet baby ain't around. When my life gets me down, wanna hear that lonesome sound. When my life gets me down, wanna hear that lonesome sound. Woo-hoo-hoo. Woo-hoo-hoo.
So Chris Gentry is back with us this month, and this just happens to be, we just got lucky, and this is a very special day. It's some kind of holiday. Oh, it's Chris's birthday today. Chris is 28 again. Is that right? Is that what you said?
Perfect.
Happy birthday. Did you get any presents?
Man, I got a few here and there. I got
Like
a deer
what?
stand.
Anything good?
Got a climbing deer stand. I'm the only people that's been in it so far is my two boys hooked up to the playhouse outside.
Right.
I ain't got to use it yet, but yeah, got a nice deer stand.
That's nice.
So everything's ready. My wife's birthday was this past week too.
Is that
So
right?
she got, oh yeah.
Man.
So she got lucky all the way around.
She did.
2 birthdays in 1 week.
That's pretty lucky.
She loves herself and she loves me.
Right. Well, I don't know how lucky that last one is. I mean, I feel like you're pretty lucky.
Every day.
Well, happy birthday, Jordan, too. So, and she's
Yes,
definitely
indeed.
28, right?
That's exactly right.
No, she probably really is 28 though. You're a
really
cradle
is.
robber.
That's exactly. Man, you can't do that.
You're not supposed to say that.
She's
So
a little
you
younger
got
than me.
you got an empty church back there. What's been going on?
Ain't much to it. We have church on Sunday evenings every other week.
Oh,
And
okay.
so right now, that's what we're doing through this virus. We got a lot of people that's closed down.
Right.
And we just been trying to hang in there and do what we can do.
Do you feel like
So I
every
feel
other
like
week is like that somehow helps with the virus? I don't understand.
Well, what we're doing with that right now is we have half the church that wants to have service on Sunday nights and half that don't. We had a couple people here didn't catch it in the church, but a couple folks that go to church here got the virus. One just got out of the hospital. He's still on oxygen and
Right.
still struggling pretty good. So you have a lot of people that don't want to have church at all, and I refuse to go that direction. So
Right.
I get in as many as I can get in.
I hear my mama in her church, not to speak ill of anybody, but I hear they had 14 people out of their church that had it, and they hadn't been, because of the virus, they hadn't been running much more than that, 20 or so. So, I mean, that's a pretty high percentage. That's pretty communicable. So let's talk a little bit about the songs we're gonna do. We've got what the first one's High Lonesome, which I guess that's a Vince Gill song. Do you know anything about it?
That's the song. I just remember hearing that song way back when, and it has it has opportunities for great harmony, and it has an odd little rhythm like we were talking about. I heard it one day on, I told you 2 or 3 times I was going to do 1 or 2 songs, and I was sitting at work one day, and that song came across my playlist, and I thought, man, that's a crazy good song. I have never sang it before, actually, and until we decided to do it that night. So
it's a good song. That
awesome
harmony is pretty strange. I struggled a little bit for a minute to figure out what it's supposed to do, because it does something that I never heard another song do. But once I figured it out, though, it's pretty fun to sing.
I knew you'd be the only guy that could do it.
I don't know. Vince Gill is the only guy that can do it. That dude can sing some backup.
Yes, indeed.
He can do
yes,
it.
Indeed. It's got a good drive to it, too. Mr. Art used to say that all the time. He said that song it's a half a rhythm right or a half a rhythm wrong, but if it's in there, that song has got that drive.
I told you I got his whole song book full of songs.
Man.
I got them all copied.
Did you get them copied?
I did. I copied them and got them back to him right on Saturday morning. I took them back to him, and he was ready to start playing just the time I slid it up on his table there.
Well, how'd that recording go?
What, over there at their house?
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It takes some doing to because you got to kind of move that microphone to who's ever kind of going to be the featured person of that song. So they need to have a little bit of the focused audio, but other than that, it's pretty easy.
Man.
If you can play live, you can play it. It's easy to record if you're used to playing, because there's a lot of backing off that has to go on in bluegrass and jams anyway.
If it ain't, it sounds like a big
like a banjo.
Big jumbled bunch of junk in a can.
So what else has been going on? Tell me some good stuff.
Man, we've been just working. Biggest thing I've been doing, we're getting ready for deer season. I'm usually already in the woods with a bow. We've been so busy at work. Just ain't been able to get much of that done this year. But we plan on it. We've been doing so much out here at the church, just trying to keep people interested in coming and doing this and doing that.
Right.
That's been what I've really just been busy at. We had a guy come in today. I did want to share this. He's 26, I think Mr. Scoot is. That's what they call him, Charles. And he's in his 3rd battle with leukemia.
That burn.
Yeah, and he's done pretty good. It's been in remission a couple times. One time it just disappeared. He's had heart trouble through all of that. Had a bandage today to come off, and he started bleeding. It's something to do with his platelets. If they're at a certain number or whatever, anyway, he can't clot.
Right.
So he couldn't stop bleeding. So one of them things that whether people believe they happen or not, I read the scripture today, and we got him to come to church, and we prayed over him. And before he left, his mom looked at me and told me, thank you, told the church, thank you. He testified. Before they got to the highway, good, she was texting me and telling me that it had stopped bleeding. So that's what God can do if we trust and we have faith in it. That's my exciting story of the week, by the way.
That is a good story.
Shoot.
In that business you're in, both those businesses you're in, you're kind of on the front lines. I mean, you've got the exit sign on one, and then you've got the gospel and that in the other job. You're all over it you're on the front line there.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I mean
everywhere.
That's tough with your day job.
From A to Z, it's I get to do a lot of witnessing that though. It's
well, it is, because that's the thing that keeps
deal with a lot of families, and we really have, and I know we've been talking about church for about 20 minutes now, but we really have a responsibility here to teach the people around us if we're going to be our brother's keeper, we need to be teaching some type of lesson of salvation and the truth to people, because whether you live to be 200 here or two, this is the shortest life you're going to live. You need to decide what you're going to do with it.
That's a fact.
I appreciate the Lord giving me an opportunity to do that part of things, for sure.
That's the thing about this life is, no matter how, you're exactly right. If it's 200, there's still a period at the end of it. It's a sentence. You got a life sentence. So I mean, it ends no matter how long the sentence, even if it's a run-on sentence. That's
right.
It ends, and that, just thinking about that. I mean, sometimes I get lost in my days, and my focus wavers a little bit. But that brings it back. That period on the end of all our sentences brings it back in full high resolution, because it's coming to an end. No matter how happy you are today or how sad, you're on your way. You're on the list, like your buddy Tony Pierce says. Your name's on the list. It may not come up today, but it may.
That's where it's at. Another one of those lessons coming up as a kid, I remember a guy teaching was on your 2-lane highways. If the speed limit is just 50 miles an hour, to meet head on is 100.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And you're passing each other at less than 3 feet separation most of the time.
Every day.
All it takes is just a glitch, just a cramp in an arm, a drop of the phone.
Exactly.
Right.
Just
so it really is that fast. That's not a scare tactic. That's just a fact.
Just a knot on a tire. That's you're that close.
That's it. Well, man, something funny. Levi, that joker, he's done got to where he's talking all the time now. So you got to truly watch what you say around him. I had the other day I'd gotten on to Dakota a little bit about something. Dakota don't get in much trouble, but I told him to hush a couple times because he kept trying to talk while I was talking. The adult thing.
Right.
And, try not to be too rough on him. But so today, while we're in the truck, we'd gone to eat with a couple after church, and on the way back, me and Jordan was talking up front, and I heard him back there grunting something a couple times, and I looked back and I said, "What'd you say?" And he stuck his little head up front, and he said, "Hush, hush," I said. And I said, you can't tell me that. And
he's probably heard that a couple times.
He has, but he'll tell you in a minute. Yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
He
you
is
said he's not
else.
redheaded?
He is a little bit.
Is
yes, indeed.
Well,
yes, indeed.
So he gets ornery, honest then.
Right. The difference in their personalities.
Oh, it's between Dakota and Levi?
Yes. They just the way that they interact with anybody, really. Dakota is the type. He's got a little 4-wheeler out there that I got running, and he'll ride just fast enough to keep up with you. The first time you set Levi's 2-year-old little rump on there, he tries to gas it and go. So I was telling them the other day how their personalities are so different just in the way you have to get onto them. So I've been trying to redirect Levi's attitude a little bit. And I do that knowing how I was growing up. I told a story today in church about one year I was the quarterback in high school. I was the point guard. But I had this one guy, and he was the most athletic every year. And I thought, this is the year I got him beat. This is the year I got him beat. I scored more points. I do everything. I make all the calls.
Right.
Well, that year he beat me by 1 vote. Now, I'll never forget that. And I remember thinking, how in the world can I score better, be more athletic at most things that we were playing at that time? And then him still get that. And it came to me later on in life that a champion's attitude has as much to do with it as the physical aspect of anything. I had a habit of getting mad, saying things I shouldn't have said, being a insecure old punk's what I called it. Throw the ball at people.
Right.
This guy would give people candy and smile, and
Right.
he was just as good at me. He was a lot faster than I was, but I found a way to be better than him at everything that year but attitude. Attitude means a lot. So I've been trying to
Especially
change.
in a democracy.
Yes. So I've been trying to change Levi's way of thinking into a proactive and productive way of thinking instead of kicking dirt on the umpires.
Yeah, that's the opposite thing happened to me. I got most athletic and I was a junior and senior, but I don't think I was the most athletic. There was we had a couple of athletes in our class that were better than me at multiple sports. But for some reason I won, and I realized that I think it's because it was a vote.
Yes.
You know, we were kind of poor, and so I had to be friendly to everybody, and I had to be buddy with everybody, and they didn't. They were popular kids, so they were just kind of above it, and you know, were mean to some people, and just they were cool kids. You know how cool kids are.
That's it.
But I think I won it just because, you know, not because I was most athletic, for sure.
Well, there again, a champion has to have a champion's attitude as well as those physical attributes. I had a friend tell me one time, he's talking about that. We were at hunting camp, and he broke open some chocolate milk, and I went to grab it, and he was doing it as a joke, but you know, he grabbed that chocolate milk, and he said, "No," he said, "you don't know how many years I had to follow the rich kids in school." He said they'd get all the chocolate milk, and I'd get left with a little bit of white milk. So to this day, he cherishes chocolate milk.
I know, that's
like
right.
It's a diamond ring, boy.
Speaking of having it all figured out, have you ever thought about putting some sermons on the internet, on a website, or on Facebook? I guess, I don't know. I'm sure there's some place you could put them. YouTube.
I have thought about a lot of that stuff. We put a couple on in the beginning when I was here. It's just, I'm telling you, this virus we put a whole new system up here for videos and a big nice projector and all that good business. And man, this virus came along and it really wiped out about half the people in the church. Mm-hmm.
Well, so I mean, that's a good reason to put it online.
We were preparing to do things for sure. Listen, I know you don't do a whole lot of hunting, but we right in the middle of duck season's fixing to start here.
Yeah, I know.
I've blown the duck call over there enough to run folks off. Man, we're fired up and ready to go around here. I got a friend of mine that's supposed to be here from Texas here. He was supposed to have been here this weekend, twisted his ankle coming off the porch. Yeah, so he's had a bad weekend, to say the least. He told me that his daughter had wrecked a four-wheeler and thought she had broke her wrist today also.
Man, he's having a bad run.
Yeah, so, you know, you Texas folks need to be tightening up around there. Make sure.
Well, everybody I know is going to the deer lease and getting their stuff together. So, I mean, it's tightening up.
Yeah.
So the working is kind of winding down a little bit.
I get pretty tickled at some of these folks, man. When I worked for wildlife, I went with a couple guys and they would set these deer decoys up. And to see folks stop on the road and pull a rifle out a window at 1 o'clock in the morning and Google out of that scope, you know what I mean? Right. trying to do things. I was always amazed. And we had one guy, we were in Grenada over there, and there was this guy, and man, he pulled the trigger and he went boom, and it went shakank. And you could see his face, man, if I'm sitting there. He knew immediately that bullet hit something metal. And he knew that wasn't no deer. Man, that just throwed everything he had out the window before we got there.
Yeah. Nearly chopped my finger off a couple of days ago.
Ooh.
I was out on the. I was changing my my battery terminals all corroded on that diesel, and it wouldn't crank. So I'd bought the terminals. So I got out there and started taking it apart, and it was one of them kind that's got the bolt through it, and it's got a copper piece that tightens up, not the old lead kind. But it had that copper piece on the end of that terminal, and I thought if I could just clip that off and drill a hole, I could just stack that right on top of this bolt on this new terminal. That'd be real easy. So I clipped it with my snips, and I held it real tight, pinched it real tight between my fingers, this sharp piece of copper, and drilled a hole in it with a drill. Does that sound smart to you?
Sounds like something you'd do.
Anyway, it drilled through fine, but you know what a drill bit does once it gets all the way through, then it grabs. So it grabbed, and before I could do anything, it had my arm, it wrapped it around my finger. The cable twisted my arm, and my elbow hurt. It twisted so hard my elbow hurt for a couple days. Twisted me up in a knot, and I thought that thing just probably took my finger off. I looked, and it was a pretty bad cut, but it just got right on the meat. You know, there ain't much meat on the side of your bone, on the side of your finger, but it went straight through, right on the bone, didn't touch my nail, didn't touch nothing. But it nearly took it off.
So, were you bleeding bad then?
It was bleeding bad. I walked in the house, flush, white face, sweating. And I still didn't know how bad it was. I just knew it was cut and I was gushing blood. So I walked through the house and said, I hurt my finger. I don't know how bad it is. Holly was in here. And so she followed me in there. And she knows my tone. She knows if I say something like that, it's probably bad.
Right.
So she followed me in there. And of course, anything's bad to her because I flushed it out and it turned out it wasn't that bad at all. But it sure could have been. And I think all the time about how many times that could have gone a different way. You know, because I do dumb stuff like that 4 or 5 times a day, every day.
So, I was telling you this. People don't know how hard this video was to make this time, because the last time we were going to shoot this thing, I went to walk out the front door of the house. It hung up, but I was already in drive. So I stuck a foot right through the bottom of the glass, cut my arms up, cut my head up. So we worked hard to get this one together, for sure.
Oh yeah, tell that full story.
Oh, that was just horrible, man. When it fell all over me, it's one of those deals where you've seen movies before, and you think, okay, that just happened. I don't know what's fixing to happen if my head's fixing to fall off. I didn't know, because I've seen it work like a guillotine before. You see in movies and stuff. But it happened to shatter enough. It was only a couple pieces, cut me in the top of the head, a few places right in the forehead.
Tell the folks the full story. Start at the beginning. I'd like to hear it anyway.
My leg. It was really and truly, I was just really fixing to go out the door. And when the door been hanging up, and when that sucker hung up, that sucker tweaked too much when we pushed on it, and it just come down on top of me. But it sounded like somebody was raining tacks. And all
so
I
your
thought
buddy
was, man,
you were changing out a storm door? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's a storm door on the front of the trailer, and it had just hung up. So when it hung up on that corner, and we put that bend to it, it was just too much pressure, and I was already in go, so I was headed out. So when it come down, I was walking right through it, and it sounded like tacks. I ain't lying, but I remember thinking, I hope somebody's got some duct tape around here.
Yeah,
because something probably just got cut off somewhere on me. But I was lucky enough that it wasn't worse than what it was. You hear horror stories about stuff like that, like you're talking about, where you'd cut your nose that time.
Yeah.
On that strap. That type of stuff is just an inch away from something.
Less than an inch. Just
bad.
like the angle could be just a little different on any of that stuff. It could have lopped my nose off. And, I got a prominent nose. I'd look like a fool without a nose.
with a quickness. With a quickness that stuff happens. I just think my wife is she's a trip and faller, and she does it with such grace.
She
and
does?
she's done it for so many years. She never makes any racket.
Really? She falls and don't say nothing?
Right.
She just
And
rolls right back up
she
onto
may
her
kill
feet.
me for this, but she knows that I love her. The first time she met my dad, we were coming out on his carport, and all we heard was something sound like this. And we turned around. She ain't grunted or nothing. She tripped coming out the door.
And she was all the way down?
Yeah, fell face down. Didn't bust nothing, thank you, Lord. But fell face down. All it done was busted her phone, and the phone is what we heard make
Really?
any
If
noise.
it wasn't
Yeah,
for the phone, you
But
wouldn't have heard nothing.
that's it. But it's just accidents like that again. They're almost could be bad. I've seen people knock teeth out falling like that.
For
She
sure.
don't even grunt though. She's tough as a nail. I don't even remember if I even heard a or anything. I just don't know. You're just talking about stuff, and I like his funny stuff, man. Get in these things where you remember these funny stories. We had a guy one time that was hunting with us since it's hunting season, and we all come out of the woods, and we'd heard one of us shot. So we were all asking, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
did you get it? Did you get it?
Yeah.
Did you get it? I don't know. Oh man, did you shoot?" One of them asked us. He said, "Did one of y'all shoot?" And we said, "No, none of us shoot." So he finally, when we went to clear out our muzzle loaders, he realized he can't hear very well. So when he got down, he pulled the trigger and shot in the ground next to himself. And he spent the next 15 minutes walking out the woods wondering which one of his buddies had shot at a deer.
He didn't even hear it.
And he was the one that had done the shooting. So I went to pick at him about that, and we were laughing, and I picked at him a couple too many times, and he said, "You think I didn't see you fall out of that tree earlier, don't you?"
So he can see, he's got good eyes. He can see you.
I got quiet, boy. I got quiet.
So the other song, I don't guess I'd ever heard that before. Some weird song. I don't know. Do you know anything about it? It was Mississippi Man or something?
Mississippi Man. I wrote that song somewhere between the end of my teenage years and 21 or 22, maybe. Had a bunch of friends that done a lot of farming growing up, and that's really the biggest part of that song is about that. These guys that work in these fields will go in at before daylight a lot of times and literally work till 11 or 12 o'clock at night. Of course, that has a lot to do with the moisture in the fields and stuff like that.
And time of year.
But they are some of the toughest human beings. To ride in a tractor for 14, 18 hours a day sometimes tough. And,
that's a fact.
it's just one of those songs. I had a farmer to tell me, and he's 6'8", 6'9". I think he used to be 7+, but he's about 70 now. But he told me one time that very thing. Is he said, it's something about being a man from Mississippi that if you're going to get out and bust these fields like this, you're going to have calluses in your hands. And he said, and that's one of the things that makes you a Mississippi man. And that always stuck with me, just the hours that they put in. I've always been a fan of the farmers.
Yeah, that's something. Me too. Of course, I like tractors and that kind of stuff too. So.
Man, yeah.
And produce. I'm a big fan of groceries. So.
Yeah, it's and it's a tough go at it, man. People don't have any idea, really. If you've never been in farming or know somebody that does it, you just don't have any idea.
That's the truth. And most people,
what all goes in that, and it's that way in most jobs too. So
yeah, that's true.
Look, man, I appreciate everything that you do. We've been pushing your channel. Yeah. We've been trying to make things work out for you. You're a great singer, a great musician, and just a good friend, and I appreciate that from both of y'all. And we thank y'all from here in the Flatlands for just letting us be part of what you do.
The Flatland Delta.
Just it.
Is that how you say it?
Flatland Delta, that's where we at. Right in the middle of it, the swamp.
Yeah, the swamp. All right. We appreciate you.
All right, man.
All right. See you.
Y'all be good. God bless you.
Yes, sir. You too.
I don't break. I heard him say, I've seen tougher days. This year my cotton's strong. Man, it's been so long since I've seen it this way. See the calluses in my hand, 'cause I'm a Mississippi man. I was born and raised in these fields. Yeah, the Delta's where I call home. Riding back roads, my window rolled down. That's where I come from. So try me if you think you can. I'm a Mississippi man. I can talk the talk or walk the line. I can be your loving man given the time. Break my back till after dark. Daddy always told me, it's how you know you are. I'm the farmer's biggest fan. I'm a Mississippi man. 'Cause I can talk the talk or walk the line. I can be your loving man given the time. Break my back till after dark. Daddy always told me, it's how you know you are. I'm the farmer's biggest fan. I'm a Mississippi man. I'm the farmer's biggest fan. I'm a Mississippi man.